Good morning, everyone. It's the 16th of November, Saturday, and very foggy this morning off in the distance. Usually you can see woods back here on the horizon, but not today. It's supposed to be almost 60 degrees here today after being highs in the low 30s last week. So it's kind of foggy. It's supposed to be almost 70 here tomorrow. It's beautiful weather, but it comes with a nice increased chance of rain and severe thunderstorms tomorrow night. Straight line winds. Sounds fantastic. And then it's supposed to be back down in the mid-40s again next week. Lows back in the upper 20s at night. Make up your doggone mind. Come on. It's no wonder we feel like crap around here when the weather changes constantly round the clock. But hey, that's Ohio. You don't like it? Wait 10 minutes. You might have something different roll in. Like I could show you this same view probably about half an hour. The sun could be out and sky be blue, but I highly doubt it. That's how fast it changes around here. So today is our last nice weekend for a while, and try to get out here and do some stuff. Got lawn mowers to clean up for the winter and get them put away and winterized, and a few other things to take care of. So this is how we're going to kick off Random Videos 19. Hope you all enjoy. I was up at my grandparents' house today, out in their barn that's fallen down, and stumbled across this plate. It's kind of purple on one side and maroon on the other side. And I found a name on this. It's Malloware, number 95 plate. And this was manufactured by the P.R. Mallory Plastics Incorporated of Chicago. Well, it was kind of neat. Who knows how long it's laid out there in that barn. See, it's got some scratches on it. They had been used. Kind of a neat find. I looked these up online. Of course, a lot of the sites that pop up are people selling these. You can buy them $11 a plate on eBay. Isn't that crazy? This one's in good shape. It has no cracks or anything on it. But who knows how long this thing laid out there in the barn. All them years for me to stumble across today. And bring it home, clean it up, and bring it home. Sometimes you find some pretty neat stuff. It is what they say is one man's junk's another man's treasure. Last weekend, my dad gave me a call and told me he was cutting down some wood at my grandparents' house, and would I be interested in having some of it? So I said, yeah, sure. I don't burn wood, but I know of several sources I can get rid of it, short time, people that burn it. I got a fire pit, and that's about the only place I burn wood in the summertime and burn up yard debris and whatnot, stuff like that. But this tree had been out in their backyard for probably 75, maybe 100 years at the most, and it was shaped like a Y at the top, had gotten a big hole in it, and the bottom was completely rotten. It was leaning towards the house, and finally they decided to take it down, and Dad went up there with the chainsaw and started cutting, and said about the first couple inches on either side of this tree were just soft as could be, like warm butter. But then once he got to the middle, he said it was probably one of the hardest trees he had ever cut, and that was with a new chain on it, this little steel chainsaw. This is oak, and it has got a beautiful grain to it. The camera probably really doesn't do it justice. A lot of really dark looking color to it. And the worst thing about it is it's got powder post real bad, or did, and it's kind of punky out along this outside edge. But what I was thinking about doing with this was making a small table, a tabletop. It wouldn't be very big. I'd have to cut it this way if I could make it work. It's just an idea, but what I want to know is, anybody out there know that if this does have powder post, you let it go for a while, will they go away naturally, or will they continue to eat in their native habitat? This has got to dry. This is really wet still, very green. Two, if you do make this into a tabletop or a project, the powder posts are present, but they aren't really showing themselves. Will sealing it take care of the problem? So, just a couple questions I had. This is a nice piece of wood. I hate to get rid of it. This was one of the nicest slabs out of the whole truckload I brought home. So anybody have an answer to that question, leave a comment down there. I'd be really curious to know what would happen. My truck has made it back from the repair shop, and they've done an awesome job on this. What they had to replace was this seal right here, this orange seal. It was completely gone, and it dripped, it leaked rear end grease real bad along here, and it had got out to the drive shaft and had slung it over here to the gas tank, and it was just all over everything, and I couldn't get this plug out right here to check my level. Now, when they repaired it, they had to machine this plug out. They had to drill it out and put a new plug in, which the first plug was square. It took like a square socket extension to stick in there and turn it. When they put in the new one, they put in a hex drive plug. That'll be a heck of a lot easier to get back out than the original. Now, what had to happen for this seal right here to be replaced is that this whole drive shaft had to be dropped. They had to pull the back half of the pumpkin cover off back here, pull all the gears out of the inside, drain it and pull all the gears out of the inside, and then take this pinion seal out and the pinion shim and then inspect the bearing inside of here, make sure it hadn't wallered or had gotten bad, still turned fairly freely, which it was good. And what this is called the pinion seal, if anybody ever has a question about that. And inside there's a shim between that seal and that bearing. The shim was gone too, which would explain why up around 70 miles an hour going down the highway with this truck, the rear end would howl real bad. Well, that seal was gone. There was a lot of slop in there, and that thing explained to me it could move. Yeah, not good at all. So I'm glad they got the U-joints taken apart okay. They did alright. This repair shop, I have a lot of recommendations for them. Anybody needs something repaired, I will recommend them in a heartbeat. They've done a great job. They turned this vehicle around in less than a day. It probably wasn't a very big repair compared to some of the stuff they do, but to me it was. I wasn't about to tackle this on my own. I was told to take about 3 hours worth of labor. They did it in about 2.5, and for $144. I cannot complain about that at all. Great bunch of people, great company, and I will be a repeat customer. It's a hard thing to find this day and age.
Listen to Scott Slade in Atlanta's Morning News weekdays 4:30 to 9 to see if you're the loyal listener of the day. You could win a Ray's Restaurants $50 gift card.
Atlanta's 24-hour news button is 95.5 FM and AM 750. News Talk WSB. Depend on it.
WSB News Time is 8:33. Now live team coverage of traffic and weather. Zach Giadati from the WSB 24-hour traffic staff.
Right, Henry County just having a rough go of it this afternoon and evening. A crash is now...
And Tennessee State Representative Terry Lynn Weaver here on the Music Row Show. So, Heino. Yes, sir. When I was in 7th grade, my parents took me to the eye doctor. Yeah. And I had to get glasses. Yeah. And I was telling them, I don't need glasses. I can see fine. Yeah. I really didn't need glasses. And when they finally...
Yeah. 50 News Talk WSB.
WABC. Attention business owners.
I can hear a time signal there, just short of 800 tonight. For me here in Ohio, it's that time of the year when it's time to clean up the mowers and start winterizing and stuff. And I got to do that this weekend. Both push mowers winterized, clean the decks out and stuff, and same thing here on this rider. And get the mower deck taken off of the Kubota. preparation to put the snowblower subframe on. This doesn't seem like it should be that time of year again, does it? But it is. Nothing you can do about it. Here's something in the digital age that's kind of an aggravation. There's probably not too many people that still use cassette tapes as media, but I still do. I grew up with them. I find them very reliable, and I got a lot of players I can play them on, be it in the car, here at home, or down the shop, wherever I want to play it at. But recently I did a couple custom tapes, and I used about every inch of tape I could get off of this Sony and both off of this Maxell. And then I turned around and I wanted to make copies of them. That's where I ran into trouble. You know, these tapes, even though they're 90, are not exactly 45 minutes a side. Some of them run about 45 minutes 50 seconds. Some of them run upwards of 46, and I've even found a few that have run into the 47-minute category per side. And when you do a custom tape where you're using every inch and fading out and fading back in on the opposite side, you need reliable media to dub these off onto that is either going to match or kind of exceed the original master. And sometimes you don't know that until you actually put this in the cassette deck, start dubbing, and you hear it shut off, and then you look like, oh man, this one hadn't run out and the copy have. So when it came time to do these, I thought, okay, well, this is a Sony, this is an HF, this is a fairly new cassette. I'll just go in my stash and get a brand new one out and we'll be good to go. No, such was not the case. When my deck auto-reversed from one side on this to the other, I actually overlapped the B side on the A again by probably almost a minute and a half. So even though these cassettes even come out of the same batch, they aren't the exact same length. And I found that to be true with this Maxell. A brand new cassette out of this same batch was not the same length as the original master. So I thought, you know, I need every square inch I can get off of both these cassettes to make them sound correct, or as close to it as they can, because I just don't like it when songs disappear off the end of a cassette because you run out of tape. But you know, sometimes that happens. So I had to go back into another stash I had from Goodwill. I bought a bunch of oddball cassettes out of the late 90s at my local Goodwill about a year ago for about $1 a piece. And I found some old Memorex DVSs in here that are 90 minutes, like I said, from the late 90s. And these are an exact match to this Sony. The leaders run out at the exact same time, at least on the Sonys. Now the Maxell, this cuts off about 25 seconds of the last song plus the leader of the original cassette, which that's okay, I can live with that. They're not super rare songs that I was only able to get in one take. You know, it's pretty common stuff that I have on this. But yeah, you'll run into that aggravation, and this was a first for me for finding cassettes, especially out of the same batch, you know, that weren't anywhere close to being the same runtime between the cassettes. So keep that in mind when you do dubbing, guys. You'll find that it varies quite a bit between, you know, 10 different cassettes and a box of tapes if you happen to be able to get your hands on them anymore. So just thought I'd share that this morning. I was sitting here on Sunday night messing around with this plate that I showed you guys in the other part of the video, and I thought, you know, this would be a good candidate for the Plastex material again, the Meguiar's Plastex. So I loaded her up and put it on and just got done buffing it off, and it really did brighten it up quite a bit. Took that dullness away from it. It's actually shiny now. Pretty crazy. That stuff's good for about anything plastic. Now this stuff predates melamine, this Maloware. I looked this up online. And messing around with that and listening to the old Motorola 51X12. I took the magnet speaker out because I want to send it off and get it recombed. She's in pretty rough shape. Kind of a neat design speaker though. One time it had a name on it, but the sticker's long gone. Now this radio is pretty much ready to go. I just need to clean the chassis and do a good final check on the internals under the chassis. Thorough cleaning, put the speaker back on, kind of fix this up a little bit right here. I'm pretty sure this thing got dropped and it hit face forward. I think that's what broke that chip out of that cabinet, because I had to bend this back right here to get this speaker to come off the chassis to get the screws out. If somebody's dropped this thing, I'm surprised it didn't break the knobs. Alright, we're just sitting here listening to the old AM transmitter tonight, broadcasting Sirius XM Prime Country.
One of these days, you're gonna love me.
Sounds pretty good. Okay, one last thing for the random video 19. A newbie to me, and I'm a newbie to it, is I gotta work on this iPod Nano, 6th generation. This is my wife's, and I bought this for her for Christmas about 2 years ago, and the power switch has quit working. It does nothing anymore. And it's a common symptom of these. Apple knows it's a problem. They never issued no recall on them. So basically you either got to try to fix them yourself or send them back to Apple for $65 without shipping, and they'll tear it apart and fix the switch. Underneath of that switch, this button up here, it's like a little ball of rubber. And over time, this pushing, it disintegrates that ball of rubber, comes down, pushes on the contact right above the top of the internal motherboard. Basically you got to heat this whole thing up with a heat gun and take a plastic tool and pry this screen out from this side over like a book, because there's ribbon cables on this side that drives this screen, this touch screen. Unhook the touch screen once you got it out. Unhook the battery, I believe, and lay it off to the side or fold it back out the side. And up in the top there's 2 screws you got to take out on the ribbon cable and drop that down, and then fabricate something to make that little divot there again so that the power button will work. Technology is great when it works, but when it doesn't, what a pain in the butt. So this is kind of like a try and see what happens, because if you crack that screen, it's game over. You get inside and you're lucky enough not to break the screen and tear a ribbon cable, it's game over. Definitely a new one. I'm going to take my time with this one. So that's all for now, guys, and we'll have more to come later. Thanks for watching.